this is Sherry. I wanted to share with you that I'm going to be making scrappy binding. And any of you have a tub like this with leftover binding? Well, I do. And I like to use it at times. So on the quilts I'm going to use, I'm going to bring you on over here. I'm going to use this binding. This one. And this one. So what I do is, you know, I like to cut my strips at 2 1/4 is what I like. And then by width of fabric. And then I end up folding it in half and pressing it when I have it all sewn together. So this is all sewn together. So what I want to do is, I'm going to treat this as if though this is the, I'm just making binding here. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of this with it. And I just open these ends up. Okay. Now, the bottom one goes face up. The top one goes face down. And I'm going to sew it from the diagonal to the diagonal. Now I'll take my scissors and I'll just trim. I'm doing approximately 1/4 of an inch seam. It doesn't have to be perfect. This will end up getting pressed open, but I have a lot of this and I have a lot of this. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to determine how much do I want to do. This is 23 inches. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to cut it here. And let's see, this one, I think I'll do this about the same thing. I don't want them exactly the same. I want them to stagger a little bit in length. Okay, so now I have this cut. I'm going to let this be my lead piece. And I think I will start with this fabric. I'll open it up. Now this is going to go on a quilt that I used scraps on, and I made, and I thought, well, this would be a good accent because the background I used was different whites or gray, and I thought that this would be a good blend. But see how that does? Then if it's folded over, it'll be like this, or like that. Okay, so again, face up. And I think I will do this gray again. Now I'll continue making the scrappy border, and then I'll press these seams open. Okay. Okay, I'm back, and this is the quilt that I am doing the scrappy binding on. And some of the fabrics that I did the binding is in this quilt. So I have my 1/4 inch foot set up. I'll unroll some of this, and I will see, where do I want to start? I'm going to probably start about 18 inches down, and I'm going to leave about this much tail. It's probably around 16 inches. I just like to have that. What I do is I line up the raw edge of the binding to the raw edge of the quilt. I'm just going to put a little pin in there just to hold it. Now I want to start down a little bit because I have a mitered seam there where I seamed it, and I do not want to end up having to fold it over in that area. So I'll put this down. Just have my little binding right there. I'll be manipulating this quilt just to let you know as I go. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to back stitch a little bit just to lock that in. I'll put this down this way, and I'll show you how to do one mitered corner. Okay, I am coming, I'm going to get this down here. I'm coming to the edge of the quilt here. And since I did a 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to go off by a 1/4. And right here, it's going to be about a 1/4. And then what I'll do is I'll take this, needle will be down, I'll pivot, and I'll sew off this corner here. So you can either mark it or just, depends on how used to doing this you are. I go slow. Okay, there I am. Left the presser foot. Now I turned my quilt 45 degrees. Put my presser foot back down. And also off the edge. Now I'm going to have to rearrange my quilt here a little bit. Okay, so now if you can see, I sewed off, not quite, but I tried to sew off there. Okay, so now what I'm doing here is here's the binding. I'll put my finger here and bring this up to a 45-degree angle. Okay. Then I'm keeping my finger there. I will bring this top part back down and even with that edge that I had just sewn. Now I always put a pin in because I don't want it to slip on me. And I will bring this back down. Get my pin out of there. Show you how to do this miter to corner. This is one thing that's not good, is I have a miter right there. So let's see how well this does. You want to avoid this situation at the end. But I am gonna go for it, and I'll put my finger here so I can do the 45-degree, and thankfully it's not affecting, that diagonal seam isn't affecting this. So now I got a 45-degree angle. I'll bring this back down, but I didn't. And if you don't end up having enough binding when you're doing Scrappy, you can always just add some more to it. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and then I'm gonna show you what I do to make the binding ends meet. I'm gonna let you know that I did get the binding ready. I left probably a 10-inch opening here, and I then brought it closer to each other and I pressed this. I have a pin in so it won't move on me. And then I took this one and I pressed it. And I would say I'm about 1/4 of an inch. You could be a little closer, but I'm 1/4 inch from this. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this one, okay? I'm gonna open it up. There's a press mark going here, so it's actually a cross. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna have this out, and I'm gonna open my hand. Open it like this. I'm gonna take this one, and this one will go, I gotta make sure I got it, I'm doing it right. If it isn't, don't cut. You can always take it out and redo it. Okay, now I see the other cross, see where that is, that seam? I'm gonna match the middle, those creases. See how I'm laying this face down? This one's face up. The one on my left was face up. This is face down. Now I'm going to open it up, keep my finger there, and then I'll put some pins in to hold it in place for me. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this quilt. Okay, so you can see it. So you'll start at the upper left-hand corner, and so down to the lower right-hand corner. Upper left, and I just match, look for where my crease marks is. Well, I got this sewn. I went from upper left to lower right. And before I cut it, I'm gonna check it again. And it worked. So now I can take my scissors and trim this extra off. You can press this open. I'm finger pressing it at this point. And you will lay that flat, start up here, and go ahead and sew till you're at the end here. I'm ready to sew my binding down, top stitch it. This is the foot that I use. I think it's called the ditch foot. It has a flange down the middle. So I'm gonna put that in. I move my needle. I can move my needle here, so I move it over like 7 spaces. I have to count. Now I'm gonna put my needle down. Let me see, I wanna see where that's at. Yeah. I have this flange part right along the edge of the inside edge of the binding. And I'm gonna take a few stitches and I'll back stitch it a little bit. And just go slow. Take your pins out as you go. Keep that flange on the edge there. And I'm using my finger to make sure that it's staying flat. And I'll just keep on sewing that until and when I get down to the end, I'll keep my needle down, but I'm gonna back stitch a couple stitches, needle down, pivot, and sew that, and you go until you're done sewing. I'll show it to you when it's done.